Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show after an insane wild card weekend, and we got one more game going tonight. We ain't done, boy. And I can't help but watch these playoffs with an eye towards the Buccaneers. What they do, how they do it, what the future is, and I'm sure you guys are exactly the same way. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports, my Monday partner. What's up, partner? How are you?
I am doing good, and like you, keeping a close eye on what's going on with the playoff, the wild card weekend. I watched every minute of every game. I think I fell asleep a little bit before the end of last night, but that was after it became, what was it, 15 to 6 or 16 to 6, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah. So
I was fine, but yes, I'm definitely coming away with the fact that coaching matters a lot. A lot in the National Football League. Yeah, I think it does. And I think these four games we've seen so far have illustrated that.
Well, not only these games, but also as the season went, right? You know, the regular season with the addition, the dramatic improvements of the Patriots with Vrabel. Mike Shanahan, and that's obviously the 49ers are a team that's been winning. Look at the injuries. Look at all these other coaches are looking at Shanahan going, dog, you're killing me. You're killing me. I could go to my fans and say, we had lots of injuries, but now with what you're doing, your whole team's been gutted. And here you are just winning more and winning more. Kittle goes down. Doesn't matter. Next scrub, come on up. We'll get you open too. Here we go. 7th round pick at quarterback. Doesn't matter. Just give me players. I win. Google me.
Yeah. Like at some point in the fourth quarter, I looked and I was like, I saw a linebacker and the last name said Kendricks on it. And in my head, I was like, surely we're not talking about Eric Kendricks here. No way this guy is actually playing in an NFL playoff game right now. And sure enough, he makes the play of the game to win the game. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is linebacker 7. Guys cooked beyond belief. And like 30,000 years old, out of the league until like 2 weeks ago, I found out, making plays.
Yeah. Coaching matters. And we're going to go through all the different games. But obviously, this is a Tampa Bay show. We are zeroed in on the Buccaneers, and there's still lots going on. Already, we've got a couple dozen comments on the Buccaneers and their OC search. So that's where we're going to start, and then we'll get to the rest of the NFL. That's how we do it here, folks. This is a Tampa Bay show. We'll get into the other stuff. Don't worry, because and we're going to do it all with an eye towards, how – obviously, when you're watching the Panthers this weekend, you're going, oh, wow, that could be and should have been the Buccaneers. And then you realize, it would have been ugly. It would have been so ugly. Don't you think? That's what the last win did nothing. I mean, did the defense play better? Did it play more physical? Yes, it did. No question about it. Thankful, welcome to the party about 8 games late. But I still say that Rams offense would just torch.
The
like they did in the regular season.
The Panthers always had a better shot than the Bucs at pulling off some miracle upset in the wild card round because they've been showing it. They could do it all year. For whatever reason, game of matchups, they gave Stafford and McVay fits a little bit. Couldn't finish it off. But, I don't think it would have been a 34-31 game if the Bucs were there.
No. Stafford goes 12 for 12 and everybody's wide open against the Bucs. And if they don't turn it off in the second half, which pissed off their quarterback, Matt Stafford, they score 60. There was the Bucs had nothing for that team. And that's where we are, unfortunately. But I'm going to try to be a little bit more optimistic today as we talk about the OC candidates because some of these candidates really get me excited. And, now I'm just they do. Actually, they do. They do.
Of the ones they've interviewed?
Yes, they do. Okay. Yeah, I like Zach Robinson. I think Zach Robinson's done a great job with Atlanta with not a lot of quarterback to work with. Am I wrong? I mean, look at the numbers.
I think Falcons fans are begging the Bucs to hire him. And the only argument that I can make for the Buccaneers to hire Zach Robinson is he looks pretty damn mighty against Todd Bowles and his defense. So
yeah, listen, I'm not saying
Todd should pick his brain for that probably. But
exactly, just get him out of our division, and I'd be happy with that. But yeah, most of the hay that they made was against the Buccaneers. I guess you could say that. But also, I think it was a dysfunctional situation there with their quarterback situation, and I don't think we can argue that at all. I think he did pretty good with what he was working with. But he's not even my top candidate. I mean, I think Todd Monken would be great. I think Todd Monken would be great with Baker Mayfield. And none of these guys are perfect, by the way. None of them are perfect. They've all got, what about him with Derrick Henry and Lamar? Well, now we hear Lamar doesn't like to wake up. And I believe those stories, by the way. I think those stories are right on the money. And, listen, Lamar has always been a phenomenal quarterback. He has always been great because of his incredible physical gifts. He can throw, he can run, he can do it all. But he's slowing down. I mean, my eyes when I watch him, he just doesn't run like he used to. It's not as escapable as his escapability is not what it used to be. And as that wanes, as that athleticism wanes, his production is going to go down. But I think what we're talking about is Monken had his hands full. I mean, there's reports that Monken and Lamar, they didn't even talk for long stretches. I mean,
Monken even said last week after Harbaugh was fired that he wishes he had a better relationship with Lamar, and he sort of like takes some blame for stuff not going right. But I think the whole thing's odd though. Like, I don't think we need to overcomplicate Todd Monken. I love Todd Monken. I'd hired Todd Monken as the head coach of the damn football team, let alone coordinator.
Absolutely.
Like, I think Todd Monken is option one. Complete option number one to me is Todd Monken. And for whatever happened in Baltimore, okay, Lamar won a freaking MVP in 2023, and if not for Josh Allen, he would have won the MVP in 2024. I mean, the offense looked great, under Todd Monken. Everywhere he's gone, the offense has looked great. He knows Baker, and I think most importantly, Baker has worked for the last 3 years under first-time NFL play callers, Canales, Cohen, and Grizzard. And if he goes to someone like Monken, who is experienced, he's been there, done that. He's been a head coach in the college game, obviously, and he's worked around. He knows what a winning operation looks like, and he knows what the best quarterbacks in the league clearly look like.
Right.
I think Baker Mayfield, some of the issues that he had this year with his play and sort of going into chaos mode and, sort of some of these things that you've seen with him, I think Todd Monken will be able to sort of, be honest with Baker Mayfield, rein him in a little bit, and sort of find the best qualities of him and sort of let that be the star of the show. I think that's a big reason why I'm a fan of Todd Monken, because he's just a very blunt person. And I think Baker Mayfield, after 3 straight, especially last year with Grizzard, I don't know what Josh Grizzard is helping Baker Mayfield with. Yeah. If we're being completely honest.
It's just too much. There's so much inexperience.
I think Monken will be able to get the best version of him because of what he does.
I love the idea of a 59-year-old offensive coordinator who's been around the block a few times. I think that fits in. If Todd Bowles is going to be the head coach, and I guess he is, then that fits in well with that culture. You bring in a Nate Scheelhaase, who I love his young mind as well. I think that would be, but again, a guy who hasn't called plays in the NFL level, right? So Monken has that experience, and we've dabbled with a couple of guys that don't. So I'd like to have a guy that does and has, a rich experience doing it. And I think he and Baker would be a really nice match. Obviously, they worked together in Cleveland for a year. He didn't call the plays that year, but the word is they do very much like working with each other. So imagine Monken working in an offense where he can talk to his quarterback. Wow, shocking. I think it'd be even better, right? I like Monken. I think David Shaw is interesting. Here's another very mature guy. Who would obviously work well, I think, with Todd Bowles, same kind of peer group, and in terms of age and maturity and intelligence, I think those two would pair very, very well. And, he's done a great job with the Lions passing game. That's another experienced guy that would, I think, fit well in here. A lot of these candidates, I think, have a lot of positives. And listen, you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You've got great bones and there's great structure here. And I know already in the comments, a lot of you guys are saying, oh, who wants to come work here? Everybody wants to come work here. I mean, the lame duck thing is real, obviously, in terms of Todd. He's obviously on the hot seat. It's, but I think if you're an offensive coordinator and you have any, eyeballs whatsoever, you see that working with Baker Mayfield looks like I could get a head coaching job. It happened for two guys that really weren't on the head coaching radar. Let's just be honest. Dave Canales, before Baker Mayfield was, couldn't even get an OC job after 10 years with the Seahawks. Liam Cohen was bouncing around everywhere before Baker Mayfield made him a star. And I think they both made each other stars. Clearly Liam's got some juice, right? But if I'm an OC, I'm like, hey, I go there. I got top 5 offensive line when healthy. I got, and which includes the 2 best tackle tandem in the league, in my opinion. And for a play caller, when having an offensive line like that, are you kidding me? And having a breakaway back in Bucky, who I think after an off season will return to form with a better offensive line, certainly, and a better play caller, who understands the run game, like a Monken would. I think all these things you look, and if you can get Mike Evans back, which if you bring in a dynamic play caller who's going to, sit down with Mike and say, this is what we got for you, I think there's a chance. Although I still, with the leadership of Bowles, I'm not sure. I don't think Mike dislikes Todd, but I think he dislikes how this team disintegrated down the stretch. I think that would be fair. And the fact that he wasn't even used in those final games when he worked his ass to get all the way back, that would make me a little sour, frankly. But if you can get Mike back, and even if you can't, you still have a great receiving core. I think you're going to upgrade at tight end. I think that's a priority. Bring in another tight end that can work with Cade, and maybe you can get him on a team-friendly contract, because I don't think people are beating down the door to get Cade Otton. So I think there's, from an offensive standpoint, you come here and you got 30 points a game. It's on your, if you don't get to 28, 30 points a game, that's on you. And I think any coordinator in the league will take that deal. Give me the weapons. Give me the opportunity. I'll get you 30 points. I'll get you 30 points with that group. I've seen it done. I know how to do it. I'm experienced. I'm a play caller. I can get this done. And with 30 points a game, it's going to be even hard for Todd Bowles to screw that up. So, yeah. But
here's also the reality.
I still have reservations.
Here's also the reality situation is I think who are the consensus top play callers that are like on the market right now? It's probably, Monken,
Mike McDaniel,
who interviewed Kingsbury. Let's go ahead and just take Kingsbury off the list, obviously.
Yeah.
All 3 of those guys are interviewing for head coaching opportunities as well. So
that's a good sign.
Yes, right. Because I think all 3 of those guys could be head coaches in the league, but they all have to go through that process first. If you look at McDaniel, look at the reporting today. McDaniel has 4 head coaching interviews lined up. He has 1 offensive coordinator interview lined up, and that's with the Lions. And that's the other side of this. Is I think the Bucs, Todd still being here, I don't think is helpful, but the personnel is the personnel, so that helps you a little bit. And if you come here and you excel on offense, hell, you might be the next head coach of the football team next year. So that's the selling point. That's the selling point there. But as much as we love the Bucs personnel, keep in mind the Lions OC opening is there. And I'm just going to be honest. I'd rather be the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just would. I think it's a little bit more of a stable situation, and the players are younger there too. And I think the quarterback is definitely very stable with Goff and St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, Jamison Williams, blah, blah, blah.
Agree. And a better head coaching situation. Although if you're looking to slide into the head coaching role, that ain't happening in Detroit.
Yeah, that one's a little tough. Baltimore,
and that's another thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say Baltimore is the other one. It depends if they hired a defensive-minded head coach. They hire a defensive head coach. Well, now you got to hire an offensive coordinator. Well, if Lamar Jackson is there, if Derrick Henry is there, that does a lot of heavy lifting. The other one, based on what we've seen the last 2 years in the playoffs, is the Los Angeles Chargers. After scoring 1 touchdown in 22 possessions in 2 playoff games with Greg Roman, who couldn't get it done either. By the way, he was there before Monken in Baltimore, and that was when the Ravens were really, really bad in the playoffs. anymore? Was it the same quarterback that he came under Monken? I don't know if Harbaugh said last night that he can't answer that question right now if Greg Roman's going to be back next year. Chargers is probably going to come open too. And I love Justin Herbert. I love the makings of what they have on offense, and they get to work under Coach Jim Harbaugh. So there's a lot
it could be a plus and a minus because he's very controlled
at times. But that's what I'm saying, though. There's a lot of moving pieces here. There's a lot of offenses that, depending on how this whole thing falls, is going to be really interesting to see how these candidates sort of judge these places right now. And that's why I think all these interviews you're seeing right now, this is all preliminary work. I think it's going to go on throughout the week and maybe even into the next week to see a lot, because there's so many dominoes that need to fall right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be done quickly. I had a point there that I was going to. In terms of coming here and then maybe sliding into the head coaching role if things go south. I think that's very possible because of what happened last year. I think the Bucs obviously are very regretful on how they allowed Liam Cohen to get out the door. That you can't argue that. Fair? You can't argue that. I mean, would this program be better? Would the Bucs be better off with Liam Cohen as a head coach and calling the plays, working with Baker Mayfield? That's not debatable, is it? Is it at this point? That's not debatable.
It's not. He just went 14-3 or whatever.
Yeah, it's not debatable. The whole, we don't think he's going to be a good head coach. We still have some reservations. I know it's just 1 year, but it was a miraculous year. I did things that have never been done before in terms of takeovers in the NFL. I mean, that is what it is. Ball's ball. He went out there and won 14 games? Yeah. With a team that won 4 the year before? Like, are you kidding me? No. So clearly, and I think the Glazers are going to look at this and say, okay, if we make Mike McDaniel the highest paid OC in the game, it's going to be with a wink, wink. If he comes here and doesn't take another head coaching job, and I think if offered one, he'll take one instead of come here and hope to get one. I mean, obviously. But if for some reason he's not hired, he would say, okay, the next best thing is coming here and taking Baker Mayfield in this offense back to 30 points a game and sliding in when the mismanagement of Todd Bowles and the awful defense rears its ugly head once again, which is obviously absence a completely wholesale change, wholesale changes on defense where you bring in, 4 or 5 impact players, I think, which I don't expect to see, by the way.
Hey, I was also going to say, you talked up some of the candidates, Robinson. You even talked up David Shaw. You didn't mention Brian Callahan.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one.
Are you actually intrigued by him?
I mean, his resume before coming to the Titans was pretty good.
Well, he didn't call plays. It's
true.
And then we saw him call plays twice in Tennessee. I mean, just as a head coach, he was an abomination.
Yeah. It doesn't fire me up. Is it better? Would it be better than Josh Grizzard? Maybe, but no. I think there are way better candidates. I honestly think that Grizzard. By the way, on Grizzard, like he is clearly like being made to be a fall guy because I think in a normal setting. Oh God, yes.
In a normal setting, was Grizzard bad enough to where it's like, well, he absolutely needs to be fired after 1 year. We can't let him grow into this role. I don't think it's that. By the way, all the numbers bear out. He had a better offense than Canales had. Yeah. And he had to work around a lot of things. And Canales, people use Canales, by the way, as an example of, well, you come to Tampa, look what you can do. Like, I'm a head coach. If it wasn't for Dan Morgan and that relationship there, I mean, did Canales interview anywhere else? I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure he was all Carolina or nothing. And by the way, go check the Panthers. I don't even think anybody thinks he's a great play caller. He's probably he's probably figured out he's a better head coach than play caller.
He's a much better head coach. Yes.
So it kind of worked out that way, but I don't know. I don't like that example though when people say that, but that's a side point. But yeah.
And by the way, what did Dave Canales do? He won the crappiest division again. And I know some other divisions had less wins, but they at least had one good team in the division. But he didn't do anything spectacular. The Panthers were win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Played close games. Did he do anything, in the playoffs that was, they hung with the Rams. Okay, that's good. You didn't win.
His offense did score a lot of points. And you
Yeah.
want to win a playoff game when you score that many points, but his defense is just terrible.
Yeah. So again, and a lot of this is about management of games. I was watching this weekend in the playoffs, and boy, how uber aggressive were all these coaches. I mean, uber aggressive,
almost to a fault. But
yeah,
I'd rather be on that side of the equation than on the safe side where I'm just punting it.
Do you see anywhere in this league where it's trending towards defensive conservative coaches?
No, in fact, we saw one of the most offensive
asinine statement.
In fact, we saw one of the biggest offensive geniuses in the game, Matt LaFleur, go into a very kind of ultra conservative approach at the wrong time, and it's losing them playoff games.
That's what cost them the game.
Right. We're seeing that from a very forward-thinking, offensive-minded head coach who's one of the best in the league, and I think any suggestion of firing him is ridiculous, by the way, side part. But that you saw that there. Whereas, but there's two sides of it, though. Dan Campbell probably is on that line of way too aggressive. And this year it came back to bite him. But I'd rather be on that side of it, though. I'd rather 100%. Go down swinging.
Well, it's the bottom line is other people are. Everybody else is going to go down swinging. Like, they're going to be uber aggressive, and somebody's going to win. Like, at some point, it's a numbers game, right? If you're not going to go all in, somebody else is. With player acquisition, going over the salary cap, whatever it takes, and being aggressive on offense. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's going to work for somebody, and they're going to be the Super Bowl champions. Being conservative and laying back doesn't get you shit. And time and time again, this is my biggest problem with Todd Bowles is the way he manages games. You didn't see anybody getting up 2 scores and putting it in the deep freeze except LaFleur maybe, and look what happened. You got to keep your foot on the gas. You got there by doing that. Why change? Why change what you're doing if it's working? And I'm not just saying, bombs away when you got a 3-score lead. Certainly you want to go, you want to keep the clock moving with more high percentage passes, but you got to throw the ball. You look at the Eagles yesterday. You want to talk about coaching matters? Look at that offensive scheme. It is literally a high school offense. You went from Kellen Moore to that.
Well, even before that, Shane Steichen was really the best one they had.
I mean, this is just it's malfeasance. The plays that they're running
look
on
at that Philadelphia is the best probably example of it because I think Philadelphia's roster, if you go look at position by position, I still think that's the best roster in the NFL.
Question.
That roster won a Super Bowl last year and returned 21 of 22 starters on it. The only one who wasn't there this year that was there last year was Josh Sweat. And then they brought in Jalen Phillips at the deadline to take care of that problem at edge rusher. All pros all over the place.
Yeah, I would agree.
But
you
got no coaching. Yeah, you got no coaching advantage on offense. You got none. In fact, it was a net negative. And you see today, you're not playing football for the rest of the year, even though you have probably the best roster in the league. And that right there is the biggest example of coaching matters, even if it's
coaching
just
freaking matters.
Offensive coordinator.
Yeah. And this is why this is such a critical hire for the Bucs, and also why it was so critical for them to make a change at head coach, in my opinion. And it didn't get done. And so, how are you going to, put lipstick on the pig? You still have a decent roster. You have some key players and key places, but you got to upgrade. You have to be aggressive in free agency. You can't fix this in 1 year in the draft. No question about it. You need a Max Crosby. You need to take a big swing and get a Max Crosby. And I think he above all else is the type of guy that could fix a lot of problems. Immediately, it fixes that leadership void that you have on defense. Immediately, which I think is huge. It sets the tone. This guy is a relentless, comes from nothing, chip on the shoulder. If you saw the post that he put out this weekend about his desire in all caps to come back and just dominate, It got you so fired up, and you're like, good God, this is exactly what this team needs. And you can see from a character standpoint, and just turn on the tape, we ain't got nobody like that. We got nobody like that. And it just, if they take two first round picks, fine. You ain't gonna. I mean, at 15, there might be somebody you can find, but it's they're by far no guarantee. And you bring this guy in, barring injury, he's 28 years old, and I know he's had a few surgeries. He still looks like he can get it done for another 3-4 years. And it's exactly what this team needs right now. They need a big splash, and they need a big splash at edge rusher, in my opinion, because that changes everything. And they need somebody who's going to come on with the gravitas and the attitude. You bring in a rookie who's a good edge rusher. First of all, it's very difficult to dominate as a rookie in this league at that position, no matter who you are. It's very, very difficult. You got to learn how to play, what you can get away with to be, and just how this game works from an edge rusher standpoint. You got to learn the tackles. You got to learn, what moves work, what don't. It just takes time to be an elite pass rusher. That's why you go hire one in the Baker window that you have. And I know there are people that are down on Baker. If you are, I'm sorry, you don't know ball. You don't know ball.
Are you telling me that I don't know ball? Right?
You don't know ball. You don't know ball. You don't know ball. You know. Well, I don't think you're not in the we need a new quarterback league. You're not. We got to get rid of Baker. I'm not in that. Not this year.
I'm in the camp of I need to see what happens next year before I can tell you how I feel about 2027.
Yeah, I'm not rushing out to sign him to a $50 million contract.
I think I'm letting him play out this season, see what the OC hire is, how the offense. That's where I'm at with Baker. But to your point that you were making about the defense, I'm with you. I think everybody's with you on edge rusher. It needs to be a proven guy that you can get in there and just be an ass kicker. They also need. It's just as important, to be honest with you, especially if you're bringing back Bowles and his scheme. You need 4 new linebackers. You need 4, honestly, because Lavonte can't play anymore, and he's probably going to retire. I don't want to see Servassier Dennis on the field next year at all. I can't do it.
He's a backup.
Deion Jones needs to go right back into retirement. Anthony Walker. I mean, 4 guys right there. You got to replace 4 linebackers, in my opinion. And you need 2 damn good starters. And the athletic profile of these linebackers needs to be so specific. It needs to be so. You have to be on such the high end from an athletic standpoint. And I've already mentioned the draft is loaded with them this year, which is great. Free agency looks like it's going to be loaded with a lot of them that sort of fit that athletic profile that Bowles needs, honestly, for his defense to have any chance. Mm-hmm. So let's see what that happens. But I think but in general, though, they decided to bring back Bowles, and I mean, I don't like it. I don't think really anybody likes it. We're sort of just accepting it, and we're trying to figure out solutions to make this thing work. But given how the season just ended, I just think this thing is over with. It's done. And I'm listening to the way players are speaking about things that went down throughout this season. Does that give you any hope that it just sounds like a team that's just done? They're just worn out with this whole thing. And you're asking a lot for Todd to steer this ship in the right direction suddenly next year. And, he's basically forced to fire all these coaches. But, what's funny about that?
You haven't had your say on that, Nick. So, you haven't been – go ahead. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts on gutting the coaching staff but keeping the head of the snake.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit nonsense because it's like we're giving Todd the benefit of the doubt of, well, he's won all these division titles, so he gets to keep his job. And it's like, oh, well, his position coaches, well, they don't get to keep their job, even though they did the same thing. It's like all of a sudden they're not good enough, which we know they're not good enough. I'm just saying, optically speaking, it's bizarre. And also, if you're gonna fire the assistants, get rid of all of them. You know what he did? He fired the lower assistants. The 3 guys who really needed to go more than anybody on that defense, obviously Rapone and Ross, we get all that. But you kept Larry Foote. You kept Mike Caldwell. You kept George Edwards. If you were ranking the hierarchy of the Bucs defense, it's Bowles, Foote, Edwards, Caldwell. Right. So all the main nucleus of that defensive coaching staff are still here. And by the way, those three guys, they coach edge rushers and they coach linebackers. The worst parts of this football team. The only parts of this football team where you develop squat. and they're
They need
still
to,
here.
we can't get rid of them. We can't get rid of their key. They are so key to what we're doing. This incredibly explosive, physical, effective defense that shuts down people and plays with such great physicality and technique. Come on, dude. What are you talking about?
I'm almost more bothered by that. Like,
yeah,
why are those three guys still here?
It's almost like, Nick, oh, we're going to make big changes, and here's the changes. Scapegoat the offensive guys, and then we're going to get rid of some of these defensive guys. This defense has got to change scheme, and we got to change. It's like, who are you kidding? It's like you're doing this like we're going to go, okay, that was a great job.
I just thought of this.
Be much better next year. Oh, thanks for doing that. We're not that stupid.
Poor Thad Lewis doesn't have a job today. What the hell did Thad Lewis do wrong? Other than the fact that because the only reason, and I know the answer to the question, okay? Thad Lewis is not here because it's more desirable for an OC to bring in their own quarterback coach. And so Thad, sorry, but you're tied to Grizzard, even though not really, because he came in with Cohen. But guess what? Didn't matter. You have to go now. We don't really have a reason other than that.
He gets passed over for OC here. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but, whatever. Could he have done worse or better than Josh Grizzard? I don't know, yeah. Right?
The whole thing, though, like you mentioned like 15 minutes ago.
He's considered a bright young mind in this game. And we're like, we can't have that around here. Hold on.
I think Bruce Arians said that. And Bruce Arians also last week was telling us that Byron Leftwich he's still on the Byron Leftwich train. So maybe Thad deserves to go somewhere else. Maybe we should rip that entire Band-Aid off. But no, you were talking about lipstick on a pig, though, with what they're doing right now. And I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want a lipstick on a pig. I don't want to Band-Aid this whole thing.
Why can't we have fresh?
Like, the wound is gushing. My Band-Aid is not working. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, why can't we just restart? Like, everything that happened this past season told you this was over with. Everything that Yaya Diaby was telling Scott Reynolds at Pewter Report, my goodness. Everything that Jamel Dean was saying, this thing's done. This thing is so done.
Cooked. It's so cooked. It's like...
So we had this great discussion about the offense, but like I can't get past all the other things. I just can't.
And you can't even argue. Well, it's not a big enough sample size. The dude's been a head coach for 8 years. 8 years in this league. If there was some greatness in there, folks, we'd have seen it as a head coach. I think we'd have seen it. There's a lot of bad in there. There's a lot of bad. And in 4 years, we've seen the same stuff. It's like, and it got worse in the second half of this season. Was the worst it's ever been. If you're hanging on to, he's growing as a coach, which I thought we saw in the first half of the season.
No, but when the going got tough and things started going sideways, Todd reverted right to what he is. He went right back to those last three. I guess the last game still was an example, actually, even though they won the game.
Yes.
Those last three games were so telling of Todd Bowles and his philosophy when his back was against the wall. What are you going to do? He went back to exactly what he is. He turtled.
Yeah. So I'm going to win a game 16-14, and you're lucky to win it. You're lucky to win it.
But all games are close in the NFL, all of them.
With a minute 51 and 3 timeouts and an interception, a sudden change at the end of the half, what are we going to do? Hand off to Bucky. Hand off to Tucker. Have to throw it on 3rd and 6. Hand off. Let's get our field goal before the half, even though they're getting the ball out of the half. Let's get our field goal, and we're good to go. Get out of here. Nobody's doing that in this league. Nobody. It's so I promised myself I wouldn't go down the ball. I'm trying to be more positive today, Nick, and you dragged me back into the
I hadn't been on since Bowles was retained.
I know.
I'm like, at some point I gotta I've been stewing on it all week. I was like, I just needed 5 minutes to get it off my chest.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break and come back with all your comments here. I love what you guys are saying. We're gonna get to hopefully all of your comments in the next segment. And then we'll get into, in the second half, we'll get into a little bit more specifics of the games this weekend, maybe throw a little college football in there. Some interesting things happening there in the portal. So we got lots to get to. And, of course, we're going to talk Lightning. How about a tip of the cap to Kucherov? Holy shit, what a heater this dude is on. Unbelievable. 8 straight games. 8 straight games, multi-point games. Good God. All right, we'll do lightning stuff. Race Stadium after incredible. I was with him on the Bucs one, but he got me. All right, quick break. Back in 3. Stay with us.
At Genesis of Tampa, they got some serious ho-ho-ho going on this Christmas. It's the Miracle Holiday Sales Event and their 30 days of giving. First, for any new vehicle in the month of December sold, first payment will be deferred 90 days, and then the dealership will make the first payment up to $500. That can save you a lot of cash that you can use for Christmas shopping. And every day in December, they're giving away a $500 shopping spree. All you got to do is have your car appraised, and you get an entry into the daily drawing for the $500 shopping spree. And every weekend day in December, customers simply need to stop by the dealership, scan the QR code, and they get an entry into the $500 shopping spree contest. No purchase necessary. Test drive a vehicle, and we will 10x your entry into the shopping spree. Christmas and New Year's Eve, each holiday, if a customer books a test drive for the specified day, they will receive a themed t-shirt, limited edition, as well as an additional $250 off the purchase price. Bottom line is, get your butt and your sleigh down to Genesis of Tampa, 801 East Bears Avenue, just off 275. It's going to be a big Christmas at Genesis of Tampa. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years, where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on a Monday. It's still a bitch and moan Monday because Todd Bowles is still here and the Bucs are not in the playoffs. Oh, my Lord. We are brought to you by the great folks at Genesis. We got to update our ads. I know that, folks. We'll do that today. They're doing a great thing all throughout January. They're giving away a gas card for a year, about a $2,500 value, depending on how much you drive. All you got to do is go down there, get a test drive. They'll 10x your entries, and they're giving a $1,000 discount on all new cars. Great deals, and they are the best cars, by the way. Genesis has the best value. If you're looking for a luxury car, ain't no question about it. It is a luxury car and luxury SUVs, but they are at a fraction of the price of some of these other ones, and they're better quality. And by the way, buying at Genesis of Tampa is the place to go. Great folks over there. Mike Murphy, one of our limited raise partners. We love him and what that company does here locally. So head on over to Genesis of Tampa. Great atmosphere to buy a car. They're not going to pressure you, just give you stuff and offer you stuff, and it'll be fun. Genesis of Tampa is the way to go. I was talking about that Max Crosby tweet that he had, him sitting on the couch, watching football. He says, everything happens for a reason. That's meant to be. What's meant to be cannot be denied. What's already known doesn't have to be explained. When it's all said and done, I will be a champion and one of the greatest to ever do it. They can sleep and doubt all they want, but cream always rises to the top. The greatest days are ahead. 8 surgeries in, obsession, discomfort, sacrifice. I'm willing to give it all to achieve my goals. Adversity will always reveal a man's character. Year 8 incoming. This shit is about to be iconic. Don't blink. Ah! I know it's just words, but man, can I please have this man coming off the edge for the Bucs? I don't care what it takes. Get it done. Salary cap's going up. We got to have an edge rusher, please.
Can I interest you in a slightly used, underdeveloped Chris Braswell, a David Walker with one knee?
He's going to be great this year, though.
Yeah.
Wait till you see Chris Braswell. Oh, check. Wait till you remember those. We were told before. Oh, it's going to be his breakout year. Woo!
Yeah. And if we really want to save money, I think we can go and get the other guy that we got from Washington a few years ago.
Who's that?
I think he might be on the open market if we want to save some money. Some continuity. Your boy Shirtless Man.
JTS. We go back to JTS.
Yeah, if we want to have some continuity on defense, we want to save some money. I mean, he's probably going to be available.
Hey, listen. I mean, when they brought in Hassan Reddick, I bought in. Sucker. Yeah.
I do love though. Like, I guess I don't love it because it's not a great sign for everything, but at the same time, I did love it. Was Yaya indirectly? I mean, he was definitely talking about Hassan Reddick, right? I'm sure he's talking about everybody, but like, what did it? The comment about how like it felt like I was the only guy rushing the passer most of the time, and guys not buying into the role and blah blah blah. Like, he's definitely talking about Reddick, right?
Yeah, no question. Yeah, Reddick was the king of the. He'd hit the offensive tackle, and then he just kind of tried to peek around him. No intensity on trying to get under and around or anything. He would just like stand there and peek around. Like, where's he going? Okay, if he comes out of the pocket, I'll go get him. But I'm not actually going to try to get.
And by the way, at least Yaya Diaby, he was able to actually push his guy back. But man, you know what?
Yes.
He just never had a move to get around them in his 3
No.
years so far in Tampa. And I'm so glad that the same guy that's been coaching him
Yeah.
this entire time is just going to do it again. And maybe in year 4, the coaching will finally be a little bit better, and he'll develop a move.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a high degree of probability that ain't no fucking way that's happening.
Look at that. You wanted to be so optimistic today, and I just like a tornado came through, and I'm like, we can't be optimistic. We have to be real.
Truth hurts, bro. The truth hurts. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. All right, let's get to some of the comments. Bucs Basement. Good morning. Man, the division. Oh, here we go. I'll put it up. Man, the division is going to be much better next year, and we will likely be just stagnant. Bowles still calling plays, and some of his cronies still here. What exactly is going to change? Cold hard truths about the search for OC. Lame duck head coach. Desirability. Are we compared to Philly and the Chargers? What experienced OC wants to work with a head coach that will hijack his game plans? That is one thing. I don't think the lame duck status has an issue. In fact, it may play a positive role because there could be an opportunity to slide into the head coaching position. And I think if Jason Light's talking to some of these guys who have been head coaches like Mike McDaniel, I think that's on the table, and that doesn't have to be a conversation that Todd Bowles has to know about. It's just, it's on the table. It's a wink and a nod. It is what it is. But I think that has to be on the table. And that may sound like dirty dealing, but it's done all the time in this league.
I know if you hire McDaniel, the one thing I can guarantee you is the Bucs are going to have probably a top 5 running unit in football if they're healthy on the O-line. That's one thing I can tell you is you're not going to have games where you're probably not going to have too many games where Baker's like pushing 40 passes. It ain't going to happen because they're going to be running the football so well. If anything, McDaniel can do that. Absolutely.
And, do I like my OC? I couldn't get over the Disney World pictures. Head to toe, Gucci, the shit that pulled up to his knees. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I think he got a raw deal. I still think he's getting a raw, or did get a raw deal in Miami. I mean, you asked him to work with Tua and try to make that.
Wasn't that his call though, Tua?
I don't care whose call it was, but he's just very limited what he could do. And he still managed to get to the playoffs twice. And for a time period when they had everything all together, they had the best offense in football, or the most explosive offense in football. Tua's play deteriorated. The general manager, I mean, if you go to Miami, like for all the time, Chris Greer had been there for 20 years, my entire life. He was the GM and he was terrible. I think your ownership stinks with Stephen Ross as well. Just bad culture in Miami all the way around.
Yeah.
Some bad apples on that roster too, by the way, from a character standpoint, I think. I don't know. I think through all that, McDaniel did a good job. And this year, they look like they were dead in the water. Look how they finished the year.
He was trying to lose the game and still beat Bowles.
Yeah, I'm a Mike McDaniel fan. I am. I know he doesn't have the typical look of what you want as a head coach.
It doesn't fit Tampa.
But I think he's a really good.
If you come here, Mike, do me a favor. Put the Gucci stuff in the closet. Just get out the sweats, full sweats, not capri pants. And anyway. Also, Rick said, I saw commercials with Bucs scouts using AI to help draft players. Hey, ChatGPT, explain why Todd Bowles should still be the coach. Answer page 404 not found. ChatGPT got nothing for that. I haven't seen this commercial, but it's making the rounds. People talking about it. Are we supposed to be selling ChatGPT with that? I haven't seen it. I'll see if I can find it.
I haven't seen it either.
So it's a ChatGPT commercial, and it's praising how the Bucs draft linebackers. Unless they were doing it with Levante David in 2012 or whatever it was. I don't know if we drafted a linebacker since that's worth the shit. Have we? Certainly not in the AI era.
To be honest, I mean, I was going to say, I wish if Kendall Beckwith never got into that car accident, he showed promise, as I recall, as a rookie.
Maybe.
Round pick, he might have been a guy, but you got to get 2 good years at a Devin White, and that's about it at the linebacker position.
Yeah, yeah. JS813 says, good luck on free agent market with a dysfunctional Bucs organization and coaching structure. That's a factor. No question about it. I mean, if you're a defensive player, do you want to come? If you're Max Crosby, do you want to come play in this defense?
I think Max Crosby just wants to win at this point. That's
yeah, but if you bring Max Crosby in here, are you dropping him 20% of the time into coverage? Oh, Lord, I hope not. And I'm sure he wouldn't want to do that. Quite sure. So if that's what the tweaking of the scheme is, Todd, I think that might be a pretty good idea. Bucs Spaceman says the top two things the Bucs need to get in free agency is middle linebacker and edge rush. Totally agree. Pony up for two experienced players. Devin Lloyd is right there at middle linebacker and edge rush. You have about options, but Crosby is the best one. Totally agree with that. 100%. I'm on board with you, bro.
I would take Devin Lloyd, but I can't imagine Jacksonville, after he just finally popped in year 5, that Jacksonville would let him go. But I keep saying Nakobe Dean because Philly's already got Zach Bond and they drafted Jahad Campbell. So having all three of them seems like a luxury. So Nakobe Dean's a free agent. So I'm just saying.
Love them.
I'd be all over Nakobe Dean.
JS813 says, we're a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Can we please talk about something other than how pathetic the Bucs are? I know, brother. I'm with you. We're getting to that point. So let's do a few minutes here on the Rays. And I mentioned this last week. I'll mention it again. I've gotten some good reports or good sources. I'm telling me that there's a lot of smoke around the ACC site. The people that work there are being told that the parcel's being sold. Obviously, the Rays just hired the guy that was working with the airport. Why would you hire an airport director on your staff if you weren't buying that piece of property right next to the airport? Sound familiar? I mean, yeah, obviously. So I think we're almost 100%. That's the site where it's going to be. If you're wondering, that's done. And from a roster perspective, and we've talked a lot about this on the Arestas Estrada show. By the way, JS813, if you're looking for some Rays content, go watch the Arestas Estrada show, the O Show. It's on our FanStream Sports Tampa Bay. It's on all the podcast places. So go listen to that. We did a whole Friday. We did a whole thing on the roster, stadium. Even had some video of the new $30 million Dominican Republic Rays development base down there. So go check that out if you're really hungry for some of that. We did a whole hour and a half on that on Friday. But just to say, I mean, the roster right now, I'm not thrilled with it, to be honest with you, Nick. I still think they're a big right-handed bat away from being a really competitive team, whether that's an outfielder or a second baseman or whatever you're going to do. I prefer to move Chandler Simpson to second, frankly, so we can get him 500 at-bats and get a power-hitting outfielder, a right-hander. I think that's where we need to go, and I think that's where they're going to go. But, this is true. It's something Mark Topkin wrote this weekend, and it's true 100%. And there's so much on their plate right now that are major deals, especially with FanDuel Sports Network now being dumped by Major League Baseball. So the Rays have to finance their stadium and their mixed-use deal, get that done with the city in Hillsborough County. More on that in a moment. They got to now figure out a new television deal, which they kind of started last year with Channel 44 and had great success with locally produced baseball games on that local station where they were getting a lot of great money for their high dollars for their spots, and the ratings were good. So there's a model there that can really work and bring them a lot of money. So it's going to change, but there's also an opportunity to make more money than they've made in the past with their local regional television. There's an opportunity. Now, I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but the money is there. The opportunity is there. Okay, but that's still an issue they have to work out. And it's a big freaking deal. Then you got to start, the design and the build, right? And then you have, there's implications of the Wander Franco thing. I mean, are you going to be able to get out of that contract? There's a lockout looming. You got to, boost sales, sponsorship. there's a lot of shit on their plate right now. And so for them to go all in on a big free agent, obviously that's not going to happen. But I think there's room for a $10 to $15 million pickup in the outfield that can give you some thump in the middle of the lineup. Everything else looks pretty good. I think the pitching staff looks good. They're going to find some arms as they always do, but they've got a solid bullpen. The starting staff, if Sugar Shane can throw 150 innings this year, I think the starting staff is as good as anybody, especially since you held on to Pepio. So what are your thoughts?
They need a right-handed bat in the worst way in this lineup, a power bat. But I'm starting to get the impression that they feel like they already have the solutions on the roster based on what they've done. And I don't like it. I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think it's going to fire up many people in the Rays fan base. But I think they see something in this Ryan Vilaldi that could be, sort of tapped into. They just last week picked up this Justin Henry Malloy off waivers, there's always the underlying stuff that the Rays are looking at when they look for proven production in the minors, give them a chance in the majors. 25 years old. I feel like these are the guys that they're just looking at that right-handed profile in the outfield just to have some options, but they don't see a solution or something they can afford or whatever, or something that's worth it on the free agency market to bring in. And so I think that in their heads is probably what takes care of that solution. Everything that I'm focused on right now is what's happening at second base. You trade Brandon Lau, I'm fine with it. Again, I think it was probably time to do that, but there's got to be a solution. If you're depending on what you're trying to get out of this season, if you're trying to compete, and I have no reason to believe that you would not be trying to compete, to be honest, I got to have a better solution than Richie Palacios. I got to have a better plan than Richie Palacios as the opening day second baseman. Based on what exactly? Why? He's never healthy. How much second base has he actually played? Number one.
That's why I think Chandler Simpson is an option.
What's his profile if he stays healthy? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? He's probably gonna be just below average to average at the plate. I don't even know what he is defensively. I know you're saying Chandler Simpson, but that's fine. But that doesn't fix my problem of I just had 30 home runs and 100 RBIs just leave the building.
Well, that's the left fielder. That's the right-handed batting left fielder.
Yeah, I just don't know where you're going to find that, and it's a shame that it seemed like the Diamondbacks dangled Marte out there for whatever reason, and now they decided to take him off the market. And there's still some other names out there, but they don't fit that power profile that you're looking at the position. Like Donovan at St. Louis. Yeah, like Donovan in St. Louis is a really good player. It's an all-star player, but he's not going to hit you. He's not even going to hit you 20 home runs at that position. It's just really hard. So that's where I'm sort of out with them. The division, Toronto just continues to get better and better. Baltimore's going for it. Boston looks like they're not interested in doing squat. The Yankees look like they're not interested in doing squat either. So I don't know. Maybe the division opens up a little bit more this year. But yeah, that lineup to me, like, while it you can't argue right now sitting here today that it's better than what it was on paper last year, because you still have to replace Brandon Lau.
Well, you say that about Boston, but there's still some big old free agents out there, and Bellinger and Kyle Tucker. And, why do I think they're all going to end up in the AL East? Why Bichette's coming back? The ball.
I mean, now I guess Boston's trying to go after loaded. Boston. It sounds like Boston now is turning their attention to Bichette, but I mean, you had Bregman already on your roster last year, and you weren't willing to match what the Cubs gave him. So I don't know. But yeah, it does sort of feel like that. It seems like if there's always a big fish out there, every team in the AL East is all over it, except for one.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a little bit. Well, I think we're going to have a lot of patience with this group and understand there are massive projects that they're working on right now. There's a lot on their plate. And obviously the stadium is first and foremost, which, by the way, as an aside. So this past weekend, John Romano pens a column busting on all these ridiculous subsidies that public like Kansas throwing, $2.5 billion at the Chiefs to move, which I think is a totally different deal, quite frankly, than what's going on in Tampa Bay. But there, Washington, D.C. is promising, $1 billion of infrastructure to help build their new stadium, and basically dumping on the Rays for even thinking about getting some subsidies from Hillsborough County and how terrible that would be. And citing these old, I'm so tired of columnists doing this lazy old, there's studies from this university and that university that show how bad public subsidies for stadiums are. And some deals are terrible, like the one in St. Pete that you championed, John Romano, which was the worst deal in the history of subsidies that you loved because it was in St. Pete. But yet, if it's in Tampa, bad. Subsidies, bad. $2.4 billion in subsidies in St. Pete, in the smallest city that would in Major League Baseball, population-wise. St. Petersburg paying for the whole thing. That's good. That's fine. We would love to have that. And Stu is great. And he actually wrote a line in there that Stu, this is how he described Stu running and just absolutely dumping on the city and the county with the millions of dollars they spent. Told you not to. Preparing contracts and lawyers and designers and all this other stuff because you thought the Rays were going to come through. This is how he explained it. Stu exercised a clause in the contract and walked away. That's what he did? He exercised a clause in the contract? No, he reneged on everything and screwed everybody. And you do well to finally write that column, but whatever. Listen, do I believe wholeheartedly that we should give billions of dollars to no, not at all. These have to be responsible deals to the taxpayers, which is what Ken Hagan said this would always be. And the Battery is a tremendous, tremendous template to work from. And there are still academics at Kennesaw State. And by the way, most of these academics, you know who they are? They're nerds who've hated sports from the day they were born. Hate them with a passion. And trust me, you can get numbers to say anything you want. And I've looked at the ones they've done on the Braves. And you know what they don't include? They don't include the 10 office buildings that were built after the Braves moved into Cobb County in that vicinity. That doesn't count as economic impact in that study because it wasn't directly tied to that development. I mean, you don't think that impacts the tax base, which is tripled in Cobb County? I mean, you get numbers to say anything you want, but you will not find one businessman that actually runs a business in Cobb County that will say that Braves deal was not a grand slam 10 times over. Now, you go find some academics who have never written a check in their life for an employee, and they'll come up with some cockamamie study that says it was a bad deal for taxpayers. But if you go talk to the actual businessmen that are making millions off this deal and a county that has tripled their tax base in that area, they'll tell you a different story. And so will any place. Go to lower downtown Colorado, which was a slum until they built Coors Field. Go to the area around Houston's ballpark and talk to some of those business folks. It's just silly. It's silly. But, be that as it may, Hillsborough County is not going to write a blank check to the Rays. They weren't going to do it for Stu Sternberg. They're not going to do it for this group. And it's not needed because this group knows what they're doing. They know how to negotiate. They don't say my way or the highway like Stu did. They're transparent. They're honest. They have integrity. They've all said this. It's much easier working with this group than the past group. So let's give it some time before we shit all over it and let them get their work done before poisoning the water politically, trying to poison the water politically in Hillsborough County. You've made your opinion clear. You want it in St. Pete, and anything else sucks. Okay, great. We've heard it. Don't write any more columns. Stay out of the way. Thank you. But I did love your comment on Bowles and the Bucs. Your column. Very well done. Excellent. Excellent. Just so you know, it's not personal. But I did like that one. All right, back to the comments. Watching these games this weekend, one thing was clear. Had the Bucs made the playoffs, Todd's defense would have really been exposed. Of course. Here's one from Jimmy Voyager. Hey, Jimmy, what's up, partner? Says, with the Rays canceling their FanDuel broadcast contract, do you see them moving over to MLB production, a Scripps sports partnership, or another broadcast partner? Obviously, what Scripps is doing here is the template's already there with Channel 28. Now, I'm not exactly sure how well that's working right now because I think people are still struggling to find it and get it. But that takes time. I mean, the broadcast is fantastic. They're doing a great job with that. But it's the consuming of it. And I'm just wondering, you Lightning fans, if you want to chime in here.
Well,
are you having any issues?
Isn't the since this happened with FanDuel, and I think it was 9 MLB teams, including the Rays, doesn't it initially go over to MLB control?
Yeah,
if I have that right.
Yeah, and basically that means it's the same production team is going to basically do this. It's not going to change the broadcasters or any of that stuff. It's just the same production. It's just a matter of where they put that, where that feed goes to and how it's monetized. So in terms of, what you'll see on TV, it'll still be Rich and Doug and Dwayne and BA and everybody. So that won't change. But where you get it and how you get it can change. And that can get better. It can get better. And I think what the Lightning did with Scripps is good. I think what they've done is really, really good. I don't know if the message has gotten out yet on where to watch it and how to watch it. So we'll see. But I don't think it's a death knell, and I don't think it's a huge revenue drop. I think there's ways you can make it up. Because as I said last year, the 15 games they did on Channel 44, very well received. From a rating standpoint, they did tremendously well. And the sales, for each, I think they were getting like $1,500 a spot, which, in New York is not great, but in Tampa is fantastic. That's fantastic. And you add up all the avails, if you could sell out 80% of those spots over all your games, you're making in the 50, 60, 70 million. That's just from the spots. And there's, lots of pregame, postgame, replays, all that can go into that. You just have to find the right partner to work with, and you got to go out and sell it too. You got to go out and sell it. But, those Rays games are the highest rated games on cable, the highest program on cable. Every night that they're on, they're like the highest rated cable show. So there is money to be made. No question about it. So don't feel like, they're going to get zero on their, no, there's tons of money to be made. They just got to again, but that's another huge project that these new guys are going to have to work on. It's a very important deal how they structure it. And there's a lot of uncertainty. It's not like just, let's just go hire this company and they'll send us $80 million a year and we're done. No, those days are over. There's going to be, you got to go out and sell it. You got to get the sponsorships packaged in with your other sponsors. It's a lot of work. The money's there, but it's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of work, and you got to figure it out. And you need some very smart people to do that. So I'm available. I don't think I'm in that category anymore, but I'm available. Mike H says, good games this weekend. Panthers were impressive. Can't believe Chargers only scored 3. Bye-bye, Eagles. Do you think – I thought the Panthers played – they were game, I thought they played well. It was, obviously a very competitive game.
The game started so poorly for them that I thought it was going to go – I thought this was going to be like a complete, blowout over there in Carolina. But they stayed with it. Like, it's weird. Like, Stafford started out 8 for 8, I think, in that football game. Like, he was just red hot. And then I looked up at the line at one point, and he was like 12 for 28 all of a sudden. Like, he just went ice cold. And for whatever reason, I can't explain it. The Panthers stink on defense, and they still stunk it up, in that game, giving up 34. But they had some answers for Stafford and McVay. It's bizarre. I thought Bryce Young actually, and I said like going into this game, like I couldn't be more out on a quarterback. Like I just don't see it with him. Might have been maybe among the best, maybe the best I've seen him play.
Yes.
If I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, that last touchdown throw in the end zone to the left corner.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, you had the Rams side, just they've been a little leaky here down the stretch. And they had a very uncharacteristic right before halftime. Stafford finds Puka Nacua going down the sideline. And I mean, he catches that ball 99 out of 100. I still don't know how he dropped that ball running right into the end zone. That might ice the game,
Cost me a parlay, bitch.
Yeah. So just a lot of funky things right there. But no, Carolina, I'm telling you, they fared a lot better than the Bucs would have. A lot better.
Yeah, making the playoffs would have only.
And that stadium, by the way, I'll give a lot of credit. Their crowd, they haven't had a home playoff game in a decade. That place was rocking.
That was on fire.
They met the moment. The crowd did.
Okay, last one. Then we're going to take a break. Come back with more of your comments. Smooth Seminole. Tommy is my name. Hey, Tommy. He says a Bucs fan since inception, and I feel like we're really close to falling off the plank if we don't get this team fixed. I have concerns about Light and finding a pass rusher. I sat here at the beginning of the season and really felt optimistic about the future of this team. I thought they had a nice core of players and a nice window to work through. I overestimated Hassan Reddick. I overestimated Servassier Dennis. I overestimated Bowles fixing his game management issues. But I did say that it all comes down to Todd Bowles, and if he can manage his games better, especially the one-score games, that this team might be able to take a jump because of the roster. Now, clearly, the first half of the season, he did that. They won a lot of one-score games. They were letting teams score so they could get the ball on offense. That all changed in the second half of the season as Todd Bowles reverted back to his conservative style and meddling in the offense, just awful. And as I sit here today, I'm kind of with you. This thing could go south in a hurry. And I have been staunch in defending the Glazers in terms of this not being about money, the firing of Todd Bowles, and I still don't think it is. And they've been spending to the cap, although last year they were under the cap for some parts of the season. I think they ended the season at $8-9 million under the cap. Other teams are spending way more. So I am a little concerned about that. I would like to see them I'm not saying this is a Tom Brady go all in type time, but it's close. I would like to see them, why they have Baker, and I still think Baker's a top 10 quarterback in this league. Why they have Baker on a reasonable contract, they're going to have a lot of cap money coming up this year. I think there's a chance to rewrite this script. But the problem is you hung on to your head coach. And that blocks everything. You're not getting better. All right, we'll break there. I've said enough on that level. That's the problem. So unless you make a huge splash in free agency, how can you be optimistic moving forward? Todd Bowles really the guy you think is going to put you over the top to win a Super Bowl? Anybody thinking that besides my lovely friend Kay Adams? I saw your impassioned plea for Todd Bowles, and I have to respectfully disagree, beautiful. It's just not there. It's a no for me. But you look good saying it. All right, quick break. We'll be back on the other side. More of your comments. We'll get into some of the other stuff in college football. Any other thoughts you guys want to bring up, put them in the comments, and we'll get to them. We're brought to you by the great folks at Riveters. Always a great place to watch football, so get your ass over there tonight for the game. Is this Aaron Rodgers' final game? Is it? I know Nick hopes so. Texans, nobody's talking about the Texans. Nobody's talking about the Texans. They may make a splash tonight. We shall see. So going over to Riveters, happy hour starts at 3, goes till 7 o'clock. So pregame all you want. And then you can have a great dinner there as well with the fantastic food that they have. I love the prime rib sandwich and the prime rib tacos. Those are some of my favorites. The chicken wings are off the chain. Everything is good at Riveters. Great place inside and out. Going to be cool tonight, so you can sit in their outdoor area. Enjoy that as well. Riveters, just north of 275 on Dale Mabry, just south of the stadium. Back in 3. Stay with us.
You know, holidays are the best time to get engaged because all the family's already together. And at the Golden Diamond Source, they have thousands of diamonds to choose from in their jewelry wonderland. Looking for a gift that says forever? Find stunning engagement rings, diamond earrings, diamond bracelets, the most stylish gold fashion jewelry. And there's plenty for men in their new men's section and watch department. There's something for everyone on your list. And don't settle for anything less than perfection. At the Golden Diamond Source, they make it easy to give a gift they'll never forget. They wrap it up nice for you. You don't have to do any of that, guys. And they have a great staff there. You may not know what to get your lovely wife or girlfriend, but they do. Let them do the work. Hey, finance your purchase for 0% interest for up to 5 years. You could get a $5,000 diamond for only $84 a month. Don't go to the mall. Go to a local company and keep it local this Christmas at the Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Some love you give only at Golden Diamond Source.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Bitch and Moan Monday, which I guess is going to be for a while until we get something good to talk about. Well, we got plenty of good stuff to talk about with the Lightning, and we're going to get to that here in just a second. I want to thank the great folks at Italiano Insurance for being such a great supporter of this show. Guys, it's pretty simple. You call them. They do all the work. you save all the money. If you're sick of paying so much for insurance, I'm not saying it's going to be cheap, but it will be cheaper. It will be cheaper. Let them shop it around to the dozens of companies that they represent, and also make sure that you're getting the discounts that you deserve. Many of us don't do that. And if you've been with a certain company for a while, it tends to get a little stale. They just keep rewriting it, upping it 2 and 3% every year. Don't put up with that. Just let Italiano go start fresh and go find you a new company, and a company that will pay if something's going to happen to your home. That's another big thing as well. So look it up. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. All right, Lightning and Flyers again tonight as they do a back-to-back. They played on Saturday, and the Lightning win 7-2. Kucherov with another 4 points in that one. Another just fantastic performance by a team that is just a wagon right now. I was having a conversation with someone this weekend who's very much in the know for the Lightning, and I was talking a little bit about the turnaround, and it said something really interesting, Nick, that when they had the rough start, obviously, and then Hedman gets hurt, McDonough gets hurt. They've lost and they had to bring up all these young defensemen, Destu and Radish, who's been just so good. And what he said was what it forced the Lightning to do was simplify their game, right? Take the risk out of their game, simplify it. And it's kind of like, and then let Cooch do what he does, but everybody else very much, simplify, defense first, lock it down, take the risk out of your game, and then we'll do what we do. And I think they've really found the sweet spot with this. They've really, really found the sweet spot with this. And, for years, we saw it with Sergachev and even to some degree Hedman. These are offensive guys, right? And it kind of, when you got the other guys that we have, and this is I'm kind of simplifying this, you don't need to do that. You really just, and Cooper has preached this for so long. And I think the reason that this team is playing so well is that they have simplified their game, and they're not, because the only time they really got scored upon, especially in the dreadful first start, was when they, had these horrible turnovers. And I know Kucherov is prone to that as well, but he's kind of cut down on that as well. And his brilliance right now is just beyond compare, really. I mean, he's averaging 2.19 points per game and is a plus 26. And that goes back, I think, 24 games where he's been the leading scorer in the last 24, 25 games in the league. They have a 9-game win streak right now. And he had two goals in his first 3 shifts on Saturday against the Flyers as they jumped out to a 2-0 lead. And I'm going to tell you what, when you get behind the Lightning, it is a slog. They're getting to that point where they were when they were winning cups, where when they get a lead, forget about it. Forget about it. And with these young defensive players playing the way they are, and Radish being so good offensively, I mean, this looks like, to me, one of the top 3. Well, they're definitely one of the top 3 teams in the league, but a Stanley Cup champion team. The way they're playing now, this is a Stanley Cup champion team. I don't see a whole lot of holes in their game except faceoffs right now. Faceoffs, and they're losing. They're losing the faceoff battle 70-30 and still winning 9 games in a row, which is insane. Your thoughts? I can't hear you. Is your mic off? Yeah, your mic is.
All right, I had it muted. Sorry. Faceoff's the only thing that has been like a bugaboo for them, and that's been that way for years. But yeah, Kucherov, he's on this insane heater right now, and a player like that, it's like, I don't know what else you say about him. It's just, at this point in his career and what he's doing, he's playing to figure out, where's he going to fall in the all-time, Russian players of all time. Ovechkin's going to have that spot forever, right? Can Kucherov become the second best Russian player we've ever seen? I tell you what, he's going to have a really good argument for it. Like, in terms of best wingers that this game has ever seen, where's he going to fall on that list? He's going to be pretty high up. He's going to be pretty high up on it. How many 100-point seasons is he going to have? The only thing about Nikita Kucherov going against him is he's playing in the same time as Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon. And he's forever going to be overshadowed by those 2 players. But for us being able to have the gift to watch him every single night, the things that he does and the subtleties in his game and how he just takes it over, even though he's moving at his own pace, it's just incredible to watch. And you can't take it for granted, but it's so much more. Their overall game right now is so much more than just Nikita Kucherov. And I don't want to get so far ahead of myself because I don't know how many times in the last 2-3 years where I've told myself, okay, the regular season's cool, but let me see what happens when we get to April because you've let me down 3 consecutive years. And I bought into this team going into last year's playoffs, and we saw how that turned out. So I don't want to get so far ahead of myself, but I do think that this feels like the best version of this team since the last time they went to a Stanley Cup. And I think Julien Brisebois deserves a lot of credit. I think he's taken a lot of flack from some fans in this fan base, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, agreed.
And if you pay attention to the moves he's made over the last 18 months or so, he has actually saved the Lightning franchise, and he has actually kept them above water and kept them competing, for being the best team in the league. Because it started with the Stamkos move and being aggressive and going and getting Jake Gensel. Right? Gensel, tremendous player, an Olympic level player, right? Trading Sergachev and getting back Geeky was supposed to be the star of that deal. Well, it actually was JJ Moser. Can't overstate how much of an upgrade Sergachev to Moser has been for this team and getting a true shutdown defenseman back there that you always wanted Sergachev to be, but he wasn't. Even down to a minor move this offseason, bringing in Pontus Holmberg, who has been one of the best defensive shutdown forwards in hockey that people are paying attention because you know what? That kid just got named to Team Sweden. He's going to be playing Olympic hockey, and nobody had that on their bingo card going into the season. And even honestly, the deals to get Gord, like that line in general, Holmberg, Gord, and Gergensen. That is the old school hockey line that the Lightning have been missing for the last 3 years. That can shut down opposing teams and grind their way and pick up a goal if they need be. That's the line. Oh, and by the way, Gonçalves was struggling. Let's put him up on the top line with Kucherov and Point. All of a sudden, Gonçalves looks like he's playing pretty well. They just have an answer for everything right now. And I think you got to give Julien Brisebois a ton of credit. We always give the credit to the players. We always give the credit to John Cooper. But these moves that Brisebois has made over the last 18 months is what's kept this window alive.
Listen, I want to. You're right. Nothing matters until they get to the playoffs. That's the standard here. At least in hockey, it's not just about being mediocre and getting to the playoffs and everybody having fun. It's not the way it works with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, that's a shock. Sorry, Glazers, but it is. Until we prove otherwise, we're stuck in mediocrity. Sorry to bring it back there. I just had to. But nobody's okay with this, and that starts with John Cooper. But there's a little bit of wiggle room there because it's the Panthers and the way they've been operating and how good they've been. There's a little bit, and I would just rather not see them in the first round this year, not because I'm scared of them. It's because of what they're allowed to do. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. It just is what it is. Everybody knows what it is. And I just don't want to see them. I want to play hockey. I want to play real hockey against other teams that want to play hockey, not just, take cheap shots at their best players and get them out of the series. I'm not interested in that. So if we can stay out of that, I don't think there's a team in this league that can beat the Lightning in a 7-game series. Obviously, Colorado is right there. But I saw that last week. And you know what? The Lightning were pretty damn good against them. They controlled that game. It was a great game. I'm not saying it'd be an easy series, but I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I'd worry about that if you get to the Stanley Cup, you worry about it then. That's the only way that matchup's going to happen. But if you just look at the East right now,
yeah,
I don't mean to discredit some of these teams, but I'm just gonna say it. Detroit is not a Stanley Cup contender. I know that they're a point ahead of the Lightning. I mean, they got a +3 goal differential. I mean, they're not a Stanley Cup.
Get out of here with that.
I like a lot of what Montreal has. They're not a Stanley Cup contender.
They're not ready.
Islanders, fun story, not a Stanley Cup contender. Flyers, nope. Sabres have gotten red hot, nope. Washington, maybe. Carolina, absolutely. They've been sort of knocking on that door for years. And then if Florida can figure it out, get healthy and get in, of course.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I look at it and I still think the Eastern Conference, the winner of that conference is going to be either the Lightning, the Hurricanes, or the Panthers if they get in. Not to I hate that I'm like basically discrediting those other teams that have been really cool stories, but I don't think it's their time yet.
I agree.
I still think this is Tampa Bay, Carolina, Florida.
I agree 100%. And do I worry about Florida getting healthy? Yeah, of course. That's that. But I just don't want to see them. I'm done with them. It is what it is. Would I love to pop them out of the playoffs? Yeah. But I know how dirty they're going to be and what that means for our team. And I'm just kind of done with it, to be quite honest. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott, who says hello to all the degenerates, haters, and trolls out there watching. Why is it always that? What about all the fun Petermans? Bantry says another point in Monken's favor is both Evans and Godwin know him, and I think they like him. I think they like what he did here, and would like to see what he could do with Baker Mayfield in this offensive line. Jeff B says I'm intrigued with David Shaw as well. Aviation says I'll give Shieldhouse the keys to the offense. I'm telling you, any of these guys really, I like, better than Grizzard because they have experience in the play calling. Does Shaw have NFL play calling experience? Has he been calling the play? Because obviously Ben Johnson was previously. Did he call the plays this year?
No, that was Morton first, and then it went it went back to what do you call it, Campbell. But no, he has not called plays in the NFL.
Yeah. Tampa guy says just hire Matt LaFleur when he gets fired as head coach. Let's stop pretending with TB. Well, I think
LaFleur's not getting fired.
Well, it's interesting. Schefter came on this morning on Get Up and said, he just talked to the Packers people and they're trying to work something out with LaFleur. And that was, that Bears game was an indictment on his game management. You should not lose that game. The Bears have been great comeback stories, but you should not lose that game when you're up 21-3 at halftime, which, by the way, Ashley and I both go on Hard Rock and bet the Bears to come back and win at plus 1,000. I think they were at that point, right? And so she bet, and then the game was kind of going back and forth. And I feel so bad. I shouldn't even tell this story because I never cash out. So I cashed out because, it was still mid-third quarter. And I said, let's just keep your bet and I'll cash out of mine. So we kept her bet. And, of course, the Bears come back and win. She had a nice little chunk there. But I did win 2 parlays as well, and I did well this weekend. Got the balance back up. But I turtled on the Bears comeback. Cost me $150. I do not feel good about that, but I'll come here and tell you I was such a wussy that I freaking took the cash out. Pussy. Anyway, but you can't lose that game. But that being said, the Packers are smart enough to know that if they fire Matt LaFleur, there's going to be 3 or 4 teams lining up to get him. So why not trade him?
I don't think the Packers. I think I can't explain to you why LaFleur has lost that game. And I hate to just say LaFleur lost that game because it's not just LaFleur. Like LaFleur didn't miss 3 kicks.
Yeah,
do that.
Nope.
By the way, nobody wants to talk about. I find it funny how when the Packers struggled down the stretch, everybody's focusing on LaFleur. What about Jeff Hafley? Why is he getting guys? Jeff Hafley's getting head coaching interviews. Why? Have you paid attention to the Packers defense since Micah Parsons? They didn't win a game after Parsons got hurt.
That's right.
They were like 28th or worst in every category. They're terrible.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know why. And by the way, you don't think they deserve any blame for what happened the other day?
Hell yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, I think LaFleur is an outstanding coach. He does some things that just make me scratch my head, but I still think he's a top whatever you want to put it, top 10, I still think he's that in this league. I think the Packers, if you were to move on from him, I would really caution against that if I were them. I just would. But it is weird because like there was a stat I saw. Somehow the Packers, this is a crazy stat. Since the 1970 merger, they're the first team to lose 3 games in a single season where they were leading by 10 plus points in the final 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, saw that.
Teams were 306-1 otherwise. And the Packers lost 3 games this year like that. Like, I can't explain that to you, but
even Todd Bowles is laughing at you, Matt.
Yeah, I can't explain it, but I still rate LaFleur very highly, is what I'm saying.
Lonnie Wilkins says, how about the Bears, JP? That was a great comeback. And I gotta take a hit on Caleb Williams. I said I don't believe in him. I don't think he's going to be a good leader of men. I don't think he's going to be great in this league. At least now, and I still think there's a little bit. He's very emotional. He's very emotional, which is, quarterbacks got to be a little bit more even keeled, but it's working for him. And he is the master of the comeback. And he does some incredible things. That throw off his back foot to
was it Odunze?
That 4th down throw. Who was that?
Odunze.
Woo! Holy Lord.
He is. The weird thing with him is it's like when you ask him to play like within like structure and just make the easy throws, he seems to struggle with that.
Yeah,
but
he's not. He's terribly inaccurate from the pocket.
But man, in terms of high level throws, guys things that you look at that and go, I don't know how many other guys can do that. Man, from an arm talent standpoint, he's as good as we've seen. Like seriously.
Yeah,
I can't. The velocity he gets on the football from these weird angles and these just
very Aaron Rodgers in his prime-esque.
He almost reminds me of Josh Allen sometimes. I got to be honest. The way he moves, like I don't know. That dude, if he can ever just like kind of settle down a little bit, and even then, right now, he's insanely fun to watch.
By the way, Josh Allen, holy hell, what a performance! Man, I don't know who the hell he's throwing to. They're bringing freaking Brandon.
The same guys who put 44 up on the Bucs.
Yeah,
those guys.
They bring in Brandon Cooks. Nobody else wanted, making big throws to him down the stretch. Do you get a little feeling like the NFL script writers are really pouring into this one? The Josh Allen.
On what? On Allen?
Yeah, there were a few calls yesterday clearing the way. I'm just saying.
There were a few calls I thought clearing the way for Jacksonville, though. Before the half.
I'm just saying. And you get you got the whole Haley Steinfeld thing. She's pregnant. She got 50 million Instagram viewers. We're going from the Kelsey Taylor Swift to much more All-American. It's kind of shifting like, politics of this country. We're going from the left to the left.
You always have a conspiracy here. It can't just be that Josh Allen is just wonderful.
To the All-American boy and the All-American girl, the Pittsburgh, although Michael Jordan in that movie. And her coups, well, whatever. But she, I don't know. That could be a story we're working on. That seems like it's something the NFL would like to see. Not to mention the Buffalo fan base, the last year at Rich Stadium, right? We got Bills Mafia taking over Jacksonville, and where are they going next? I don't know. I think the script writers are pouring into this one.
It would be pretty interesting if the Bills, of all the shots they had to win the Super Bowl in the 90s and all the shots they've had with Josh Allen,
right?
They pull it off with this team, which I think this is the worst version of the Bills that we've seen under Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to go on the road to do all of it when yesterday was their first road playoff victory since 1992.
Just like Tom Brady did in 2020 during COVID. Ooh.
No, you're full of crap. There's no conspiracies here, but it is interesting. It is interesting.
Just for fun, folks. Don't get after me. Captain K says, I think after Reddick, Jason Light is going to be a bit of a chicken as far as pulling the trigger. I think he's going to stick with going through the draft, and it hasn't worked yet. I think just the opposite. I think we're to the point where we've been burned so many times trying to, JP, bringing in JPP. And I understand there weren't a lot of options out there. At least you did something. I get it. But, man, bro, some of that tape.
Did you watch him play? Really... I shouldn't even use the word play. I don't know what he was doing. Like he was just
fell down. He fell down like an old man.
He's just wearing a number that didn't. He's just wearing a jersey that didn't fit him with a number that wasn't slimming. Like, oh no,
it's so bad. And there was that one play. Are you talking about the same play I did where he went to swat and he missed and he fell down on the ground? And he's like, I'm falling and I can't get up.
You know what? I'm pissed. I'm so pissed. I am so pissed.
I'm sorry,
Jason
JPP.
Light.
I'm sorry, bro. I love you.
That's what I'm saying. I am
love
so
you,
pissed.
man.
I am so pissed at Jason Light and whoever made this decision to bring him back. Because this is the last memory that I have of Jason Pierre-Paul in a Bucs uniform. It's what I had to watch for those last 2 games. This is not fair. I want to remember him for the ass kicker that he was.
Yes.
And you made me watch him against Quinn Ewers. Like, no, come on.
It's so mean to do to a guy like that. That's such a great legacy. Come on, man. Oh, but isn't that like kind of indicative of where this thing went the second half of this season?
They did it last year, though. They made me watch Shaq Barrett come out of retirement. They did it 2 years in a row.
Like, how many times do we have to do Hail Marys to get an edge rusher? Come on. I think at this point you've done so much of this that you've got to okay, I can't pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I'm just gonna give up the 2 1s and go get Max Crosby and shut everybody up. But again, there's peril in this. I mean, look at Micah Parsons. You gave up all that stuff and boom, ACL. You're screwed. But again, if there's always going to be teams that are going all in, and if you're not one of them, I mean, that's how the Bucs won the Super Bowl in 2020. They went all in when others weren't.
Yeah, and I also think the division, like, you had a head start on everybody in your division, clearly.
Yeah.
Well, that's over now. Atlanta, I think Atlanta is going to make a splash hire. They're going all in. Arthur Blank, I think he recognized that the roster is pretty good. Quarterback, we'll see. But, they're bringing Matt Ryan home. I mean, I'm kind of lukewarm on that, to be honest. Former players running organizations' decisions. I don't know about that. But
you know what? I would normally say I'm out on that, but it very much depends on the guy. And I happen to know Matt Ryan a little bit, work with him for a couple of years up in Atlanta and work with that organization. And I'll tell you what, that's a good fit. Arthur Blank loves Matt Ryan and he trusts Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan, I don't know if you've watched him a lot on CBS, but
he's
I know
very, very bright. Yeah.
He's super smart. If you can find a guy like that who's actually interested in working his ass off and making something happen, like a John Lynch. I mean, these former players, the problem with a lot of these former players is they have families. It's hard for them to really dig in and put in the time and the effort that is needed in these positions. And, if I'm not mistaken, most of Matt's kids are older now. And he's so connected to Arthur Blank and the city of Atlanta. Like, he's one. I think this is one of those situations that screams like a John Lynch deal. And I think former players in those positions are, and I don't necessarily think he's going to be the GM, right? He's not the GM. He's the president of football, but I think he's going to have a very large sway on personnel.
This is like a new role that they made specifically for him.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think that he's probably going to have majority of the say in what happens there. It probably is unfair to me because I don't know what his philosophy of football and where it's going. Like, I can't claim to you to know that. I just hear what I hear on CBS, and he's obviously very smart, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. But my point is, it's like Atlanta's making big moves. Atlanta's not content with winning 8 games
with
every
mediocre.
Year.
Yeah.
They may not
be finding the right answers. And I'm not saying Raheem was a great hire. Obviously he was not. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
To your point,
I don't
think.
Yeah, and then I don't. Yeah, and then Carolina. I don't think Carolina. I don't buy Carolina necessarily. I just don't. We'll wait and see there. But New Orleans is the one too. Like I think New Orleans found their quarterback, folks. I think they found him.
I do too.
Tyler Shuck could play.
Yeah, he can.
And they finished really strong down the stretch. Like they're going to come out of cap hell as we get more and more. I mean, I think New Orleans is going to be a player, maybe as soon as next year, depending on what they can do. So my point is, you don't have a lead in the NFC South anymore. You just don't.
Nope. Yep. Those days are over. Tampa guy says the Buccaneers play a finesse defense. There's no physicality to them. Absolutely. It's terrible. So done with that. Stephen Pryor, good morning to you. First time in, I believe. I think we need a big-ass defensive tackle also. Cansey's always hurt. Yeah, welcome to the Nathan Elliott school. He's screaming about that. We need more big defensive tackles. And I think he's right. They need to
I think you need a better option that when if Kalijah gets hurt again, I can't have Greg Gaines as my next best option. That can't happen.
No.
That's on Jason. Yeah,
absolutely. That guy's not NFL level, all due respect. But I mean, I'm trying to think of the guy we let get away. That was the kind of the backup tackle. I forget. He's playing well. It'll come to me. This one from Jeff B says Bull's not getting rid of his henchmen. I know. That's just crazy, isn't it? Like if you're going to fire a bunch of guys, but the core remains. It's just like for show. It's almost like just for show. We're going to have some scapegoats. A couple guys on defense are probably going to retire anyway. Doesn't move the needle whatsoever. Doesn't change the organization whatsoever. If the Glazers were seeking change, this does nothing on the defensive side to change anything. And that's where your biggest problems are. JS says, don't bet against the Bears. The Pope is from Chicago. The Bears have divine intervention on their side. That's true. That's true. Not only divine intervention, but a whole lot of money at the Vatican. Kenneth, what do you think the NFL would you want Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl? How about the Pope? How about the Pope coming to the Super Bowl? How about that? That'd be crazy. Kenneth says, I don't think Jason Light has the balls to go out and do a move for Crosby and stick with trying to draft the edge rusher in the draft. I think you're right, by the way. I don't mean to say he doesn't have the balls to. I just think that his philosophy, we just haven't seen it, and I don't necessarily think that there's I take that back. There's been opportunities to go out and do it, and they just haven't done it.
In hindsight, I would have. I mean, would they pay Reddick this year? $14 million.
$14 million.
Again, I don't claim to know scheme fit, interest, whether they kick the tires on it or not. But in hindsight, Josh, he didn't even have to be like an elite guy. Like Josh Sweat was available,
showing up in the playoffs again.
Yeah, and Josh Sweat this year for the Cardinals, while not like an all-pro caliber year, guy had 12 sacks, and he's had multiple years over. I mean, and he signed, I went and looked it up. He signed 4 years for $75 million. So what about, it's like, I think it came out to like $19 million or something like that per.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not crazy. That's not a lot for a guy that gives you 12 sacks.
No.
Like,
they're going to pay 14 for 1.5.
Yeah, and a guy that's 3 years younger and was coming off his best at peak of his powers versus a guy that had a disaster 2024 season in Reddick. I mean, is that like in hindsight's everything, right? But did the Bucs exhaust all the options there? Don't know.
No. And where's Josh Sweat from?
He's from the state.
Mm-hmm. Michael LaRue says the Raiders aren't trading Max Crosby. They would have $125 million in cap space. There's no realistic way to spend that in one off season. Bucs need the 2 1s and $35 million to address multiple holes on their roster. You're not wrong, Michael. You're not wrong. But the absence of attitude, leadership, and edge rushing it's almost like you're getting 2 or 3 players in one with Max Crosby. You know?
Yeah, and you don't have to. I'm trying to like look in here if there's options like free agency where you don't have to give up picks. Like, Trey Hendrickson was a name last offseason that was available for trade. Well, now he's a free agent. But Trey Hendrickson, he's 30. He's 30. You think he's already over 30.
Yeah.
This year he had injuries. $50 million. Does that seem like a smart way to use that money on a guy who probably is in decline? No.
Jeff
My
B.
answer's
No, I agree with you. Jeff B says David Walker will be the next training camp Hall of Famer. Yeah, you can see that coming. Just like Marquise Watts. And don't forget our favorite, Chris. What's his name? Braswell?
Did he ever flash in anything? Preseason camp? I don't think mini camp, rookie camp. Have we ever seen him do anything productive?
It's comical watching him rush the passer. He just runs into the tackle and sticks like Velcro.
He makes me long for the days of Noah Spence and Alex English or whatever is not Alex English, the great nugget. Who's Larry English? I mean, he makes me long for them. Like, geez.
I don't know what's worse. At least JPP is trying to get around the guy when he falls flat on his face. Braswell just runs into the guy and sticks like Velcro. I've never seen anything like it. It's like if you were his coach, wouldn't you stop the 100 reps that he just runs into the blocker and go, hey, let's try getting around him. Let's try running the hump or something. What do you think? Let's try a spin move. What? No spin move. Let's try a swim. How about we do the swim over? No. Nah, you're good. You're fine. Just stick like Velcro. That's good. That's a good move. That's a good power rush. I know you're not pushing him into the quarterback with your power rush, but yeah, that's good. That's good. Can't even imagine. This is an interesting take by Nathan Elliott. Says Bucky is electric, but he's not an every down running back. A good OC may be able to convince Rachaad White to return. Let's dive into this a little bit, because I'm with Nathan on this. I don't think Bucky is a 19 carry a game guy. I don't think that's a good use of Bucky Irving at all. Between the tackles 19 times, no. That's a no for me. I would like to see Bucky get 15 to 20 touches. And I would say 7 of those might be between the tackles. 4 of them should be screen passes. Another 3 to 4 should be quick routes where they're out in the flat, where he's one-on-one with a linebacker. Scheme it up, bro. Scheme it up. I want to see Bucky in space with a linebacker like Atlanta does with Bijan Robinson against us every freaking game. I want to see Bucky out in space, catching footballs, not running between the tackles 19 times. Does that make sense to you? And by the way, I think Bowles had something to do with that. That makes no sense to me.
It
Run him on the perimeter, get him in open space. No, not 19 times.
I think in general, the Bucs run game this year, which was really bizarre given that both guards were out all year, is it just seemed like they were just running it just to run it. Like they were actively just filling a quota. It's like they went back. It's like they went backwards in time to what, Byron used to do and what Canales did too.
Bowles told him to do, run the ball.
Yeah, like they're just running to run it. Like we're just running duo or whatever up the middle every single play. But to your point, like Rachaad to me seems like he's just already out the door. I mean, if you pay attention to this guy on Twitter, he's just telling you straight up, like, yeah, guys, it's been fun. I'm out. Like he's posted everything about Jaden. He's gone. Rachaad White's not coming back here. And honestly, it's a shame because I think Rachaad is going to thrive somewhere and be a real weapon for somebody. And maybe it is Washington if he has his way. And he's probably going to cost too much money that you'd want to pay for a second running back. So they'll have to get somebody else in here because I don't think I still don't think they trust Tucker to be the second guy.
Yeah, I think Rashaad's gone, no question. This is the other thing. Don't think Evans is coming back, says Bucs Skull Game. If Evans doesn't come back if Evans doesn't come back, Rashad Lee, if you see guys leaving, we haven't seen that recently. Everybody wants to come back and re-sign, right? I think that whole vibe has changed this year. I think that vibe has changed. I think the second half of this season really exposed Bowles as a head coach, where I think he kind of took it over. Clearly, he wasn't listening to the game management guy. We saw that at the end of the first half of the Panthers game. I don't think he was trusting his offensive coordinator either. I think he was meddling in the game plan, but just my opinion, to run the football more and be more conservative. So I think that the vibe has changed around this team. I don't think they trust Todd Bowles. To have Mike Evans yelling, but exclaiming 3rd and 28, 3rd and 28. I mean, that's an indictment on your head coach and your defense. Who's your defense coordinator?
Oh, I don't like the comments either that Yaya mentioned about,
of course,
the walkthrough stuff that people have been talking about. I think Jamel Dean, who's been here the entire time with Todd, you heard the things he said about, we're not prepared going into games. Well, who does that fall on?
Todd Bowles. With those, and let me just say this: we still haven't heard from the Glazers.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I don't know. You bring that up, and it's like, listen, based on the affairs across the pond, I want to hear from them on that too. I'd like to hear from them on anything, to be honest with you.
Give me some perspective. Well, at least across the pond, they're not running the team anymore.
They're still the majority owners.
No, but they sold they sold Corey. That's Sir Schmuck-a-lot, whatever his name is.
Yeah, they sold
but he's running the team.
I understand that, but they are still the majority owners. They are still the majority owners of the club. They still opted to sell it to them because they were against selling the whole thing when they should have sold the whole thing. Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is you wouldn't expect them to come speak out.
Well, they've never spoken out. That's my point. Like, no matter all the dysfunction with that club, because it's a dumpster fire over there. You think the Bucs are a dumpster fire? You have no idea. So I'm just saying, in general, I'd like for them to speak out about something. But at the very least, like, is Jason Licht going to speak? Before we get to the combine, are we going to hear from him before then? Or is it going to be radio silence on his front?
I don't know. He's been radio silent.
I think he's got some things to answer to.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge Jason Licht fan, but he made some bad decisions. I mean, I was on board with a lot of them, but they didn't turn out that, Hassan Reddick was a disaster. He didn't go out at the deadline and get a guard or a linebacker that was desperately needed. And there are things he could have done that he did not. So, yeah, and suddenly this roster looks a lot more pedestrian than it did at the beginning of the season. Bell says, hope you guys had a great weekend. I said I emailed info so I can get that merch. Best sports show around town. Oh, I have Ashley to get on that. One custom-made bikini. We'll get it out. We'll get it out to you. FanStream Sports. We love it. Here's an interesting one. From Rob DePrez Thompson. Welcome in. Says Kevin Cash should have been replaced, but no talk about that.
Correct. No talk about that.
I don't know about that. I think we got a lot of other issues besides the manager, don't we? I thought he had a really bad year, though. I thought he had a really bad year.
It wasn't a great year, but he had a lot of. I mean, he wasn't working exactly with the greatest,
right?
Either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. As I've always said, Kevin Cash will be gone when he decides he wants to be gone.
Yeah. All right. What else we got here? If you see one you want to put up, let me know. This one from Mike H says, I don't blame the new Rays ownership for playing it conservative for a while until MLB strike, TV deals, wander issues, stadium issues get ironed out, and they get their feet under them. Patience. I agree. 100%. Not trying to make excuses for them. But yeah, I agree. There's a lot on their plate right now. They don't need to be making any rash decisions on huge free agent deals that could set them back even more. I agree. Thomas Casper says, Romano questions Tampa financing stadium. Of course. We talked about that.
I found this comment for the 1,000th time on the show. Absolutely not.
The Packers are working on a Matt LaFleur contract extension. If Mike Tomlin gets fired, will the Glazers call him? I think they will. I disagree with you. And that's why I'm saying is like we still have not heard from the Glazers about where is the – hey, I mean, you can't just sit there and act like this is a normal offseason. Like his seat's not hot. We don't need to make a statement because we're not firing him and there's no reason to fire him. That's completely sticking your head in the sand. And the fact that and they did call John Harbaugh reportedly, and I believe that they kicked the tires on Harbaugh. That doesn't sound like they're all in on Todd Bowles. It sounds like if they find the guy that they want, they'll make the change.
Well, it sounded like what Harbaugh wanted his own GM.
Yeah,
obviously the Bucs were not going to go for that, nor should they.
But the point is, they kicked the tires on it, which tells you that they're not all in.
It just sort of seems like that's the thing that scares me. It's like, are they just all in on names? It's like it's just like Harbaugh's a name and he's won a Super Bowl, so it's like they view that as a splash. When there's a lot of other things that tell me that I'm not convinced about John Harbaugh moving forward as a coach in this league.
I don't think John Harbaugh is in question here, is it? I think the relationship with Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh was the issue.
I think John Harbaugh was on thin ice in 2018 as a head coach, and then when he gave the keys to Lamar, kind of saved his job 8 years ago.
Maybe.
My only thing with John Harbaugh, I know we're about to end, but my only thing with him is like he doesn't give you what advantage does he give you from a schematic standpoint? He's not an offensive guy. He's not a defensive guy. He didn't do any of that. You're just relying on him to be a culture builder? Like, I don't know. It wouldn't have been my first option is my point if he was available to the Bucs and the Bucs didn't have Bowles. But
what else? I want to get to some new names. Nancy Hawley says, God help those of us who are FSU alumni and living in Tampa, watching incompetence and displaced loyalty every day. Football purgatory. Oh, Nance, I'm with you, Ben.
I don't even have the energy to. I don't have the energy to tackle them.
And like she says, with no end in sight. No, it's brutal, bro. It's brutal.
This past week has broken me on that front completely, like beyond repair.
I mean, Ashton did take the 71st best quarterback available again, Ashton Daniels. I mean, you can't get more mediocre than that.
Well, I know why they're doing it. No, I know why they're doing it because Gus just needs a quarterback that could just run around and that's it. That's it. Like that's all there is to it. Yeah, it's what you get with the Gus offense. But no, I'm more ticked off that of the few players on that roster that could actually play, they've all left. Like they lost to Desires. The Desir twins gone. I mean, do you see that defensive line for Florida State?
And by the way, for the want of like a good sources on this, like $75,000. That they package themselves as a 2-for-1, and one is clearly better than the other, but the other could develop. And FSU didn't want to spend that much money on one player, which they looked at it as one player instead of two, according to my sources, because they don't think the I forget which one's which. Sorry, but of course Ohio State didn't have any problem doing that.
You know what? You have fun playing walk-ons this year. You have fun.
Yeah. And Nancy continues and says, watching the CFP games and then the wild card games, it's like pouring salt in the wound, seeing what real football and coaching looks like. We are light years behind. You are absolutely 100% spot on, Nancy. I feel the same way about both organizations right now. Both of them are just lost in the weeds because of financial misdealings at Florida State, bad choices. A lot of what's happened at Florida State is from decades past, honestly. There's been so much there's so much mismanagement along the way. And then you're stuck with what's going on now. And I don't believe it's all Mike Alford's fault. I think he's done a lot of good things. He got stuck with a bad contract. People keep saying, why did you sign Alford to this big deal? You had no choice. It's the way the game works. They got stuck with a bad buyout. Texas A&M got stuck with it too. So did Penn State. They got off the hook because Franklin went and got another job. Texas A&M got off the hook because they just have ridiculous amounts of money. Florida State does not. Ugh. But it doesn't matter what the reasons are. It's where we are now, and it sucks. All right, last one. Pete Schultz says, hey, is Riveters coming to the Fishhawk area? We need a sports bar like that around here. Okay, Mr. Fishhawk, is this true? Yes, you need a Riveters out there in Fishhawk.
I'm happy that I have a listener here that's from Fishhawk.
Yeah, he wants a Riveters. You know what? I will pass this on. They're opening one in St. Pete, and it's going to be wildly popular. So I will tell the powers that be. In fact, I will show them this clip because our Petermans love Riveters, and now they want one in Fishhawk. So let's go build one in Fishhawk and get her done.
You know what we have, JP?
What do you have?
A Cherries.
Cherries?
A Cherries. Do you know what Cherries is?
Doesn't sound like a sports bar.
Oh, it's a sports bar, all right.
Not a very good one.
No. I think it's still a chain, maybe, but there's a lot of locations that have closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Cherries. Holy, that's like from the 90s. It's still alive.
Well, this one's still kicking, somehow.
Yeah.
So we could use another sports bar.
Let's go with it. All right, Riveters and Fishhawk. All right, cool. All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Cafe Paradiso, Third Generation Plumbing. By the way, Third Generation Plumbing, if you're looking for a job, they are hiring right now. So if you're an experienced AC or plumbing tech and you want to make good money, work for a great family company with benefits, all the holidays off, this is your chance. Third Generation Plumbing, they're so damn busy because they advertise on the JP Peterson Show. They need to hire more people. So get your resume in at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Just give them a call and they'll set you up for an interview. thirdgenerationplumbing.com. All right, I got the Texans tonight. Who you got, partner?
Oh, goodness gracious. Let's fix that. I'm actually going with the Steelers, and I can't believe it, but I'm doing it.
Really? Okay.
I'm doing it.
All right.
Rodgers won't die yet. He will not die yet.
They like that storyline. Oh, they do. Yes, Steelers lose tonight. Mike Tomlin introduced as a Bucs head coach this week. All right, we'll leave you with that. Good night, everybody. Drive safe. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy the games tonight. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.